So how can I include critical evaluation in my writing? There are many techniques used to include critical evaluation. For example, here I can highlight what weaknesses of previous studies, identifying just weakness in a single study or a research paper, offering constructive suggestions, introducing problems and limitations, using evaluative adjectives, introducing general criticism. What about highlighting inadequacies of previous studies? For example, I can say Smith's analysis doesn't take into account nor does she examines, for example, identifying weakness in a single research paper. I can say that Smith fails to do, to draw conclusion, to draw distinction between. So this is concerning just one single study. Offering constructive suggestions, for example, these studies would have been more useful if they had focused on the study would have been more relevant if the researchers had asked uh, for introducing, for example, problem and limitation. And here we focus on theory or argument. So the main weakness, for example, of the study or the theory is, for example, concerning introducing problem and limitation, we can say the main limitation of the study is, and this can be used in the literature review as well as in your data analysis, using evaluative adjectives. For example, in his thorough analysis, Wilkinson 1991 showed that, or Wilkinson provided the thorough analysis of. So here there are many evaluative adjectives that you can use in your writing, so that you bring what critical evaluation, introducing general criticism. For example, these claims have been strongly criticized by some researchers in recent studies or recent years. And here I have found a very interesting sites that can help you. It is as if a bank of it is a bank of phrases or transition sentences, or and it is called Academic Bank Phrase Bank. I found it in this website of Manchester University. So you can find here many expressions, signal sentences, phrases used to show different how to be critical. For example, being critical, how to be cautious, classifying, listing, how to compare. For example, in comparing, there are many strategies used. For example, introducing differences. In introducing differences, there are many phrases used, phrases and sentences. For example, introducing similarities, how to compare within one sentence. For example, there are here many sentences, phrases used for that, as you can see here. For example, indicating difference across two sentences. So this website is very interesting. I'm going to send you the link. For example, defining terms, and we need for our literature review some techniques to define terms. For example, introductory phrases, as you can see here. Simple three-part definitions technique. We've got indicating varying definitions. You've got a multi of phrases and sentences used to write the literature review, to analyze your data in the chapter. For example, for providing example, as you can see here, providing examples as the main information in a sentence. For example, examples as additional information, reporting cases as support. You can hear about writing the past, for example, time phrases associated with the use of the simple past tense. So this here website provides a really what an academic phrase bank. I'm going to send you the link. You can take the link, and of course you work with what is provided in this website. So this website is linked to the university or Manchester University. I've got even introducing works referring to sources, for example, referring to sources. Here you've got general comments on the relevant literature, previous research, methodological approaches taken. So this website really helpful, is really helpful for either master or doctoral students. As you can see here, the describer methods, you've got here even list of phrases and sentences used to describe methods, reporting results. But even for this discussing findings and writing conclusions. Really a very interesting website. I'm going to send you later on, sorry, the link. Now we move on to what is called claims of interpretation, and here we've got an example. Before that, let us so using just critical evaluation and effective arguments are not enough to build your voice. So depending just on your arguments and critical evaluation is not enough to build your voice. You should what? Support your arguments with what is called claims of interpretation. We all know that the literature review aims to answer a given research question. That question what? Needs an answer of fact, a judgment, standard, definition, or frame of reference. So when deciding to write the literature review, you have to determine the type of the claim needed to answer your research question. Of course, including a claim in your writing doesn't necessarily make it acceptable. As you construct your claim, you should take 2 points into account: the type of the claim and the quality of the claim. So what are the different types of claims? Before I explain here the example provided in the previous slide, what are the different types of claims? So according to Hart 1998, claims can be divided into what? Claim of fact, claim of value, claim of policy, claim of concept, and claim of what? Of interpretation. So here Hart what said that claims can be divided into a claim of fact through this claim the writer proposes something like a settled fact or truth. So here I'm going to provide a truth, a settled fact that all people know, mainly in that field of research. For example, foreign language learners who use English on Facebook are subject to use informal English in comparison to those who do not use it. So this has become what? Common fact through many studies. Through claim of value. So through claim of value, you will assert the merit of the theory. I'm going to give more importance to the theory. The idea of the topic you are exploring and declare whether it is good or bad. For example, the overuse of social media by children can affect what? Their social, psychological, linguistic, and emotional developments. So this is an example about, and here there are many theories about, of course, the negative impact of using the overuse of social media on children, and this may lead to social, psychological, linguistic, and emotional problems. So concerning the claim of policy, the author should show that one action is preferable in comparison to other actions. While with the claim of concept, the writer provides some definitions. You are going to give some definitions of some key concepts. For this reason, it is called claim of concept. What about claim of interpretation? So, concerning the claim of an interpretation, it is mainly used when you are interpreting the results. For this reason, it is called the claim of interpretation. For example, based on the findings, we assert that students' learning in anxiety is directed by psychological, social, and linguistic factors. So we are interpreting the findings. So you are going to use claims. These claims, what are called claims of interpretation. So the type of your claim depends on your arguments, the type of the argument, and the context of your study.